Hi everyone, my name is Zareth, and today I'll be reviewing Fallen Legion, Sins of an Empire for the PS4. Fallen Legion is an action RPG developed by Mintsphere and YummyYummyTummy studio. It takes place in the country of Phonumia, a declining nation that has overextended its power through conquest. You play as Princess and War General Cecile, daughter of the Emperor who has just learned of her father's passing and must now make her way back to the capital to transition her role from being a military commander to a political leader. Barring her way is Legatus, a heroic general leading a rebellion to overthrow the royal family. Cecile isn't alone, however. She has been provided a magical grimoire used by her father that can summon physical manifestations of the user's mind, and this is what the core gameplay revolves around. Fallen Legion takes a loose page from Valkyrie Profile and plays like a 2D action RPG in which you control up to 4 units, each assigned to a face button, with Cecile being assigned to Triangle for spellcasting. The similarities end right there, as Fallen Legion's gameplay is more focused on proper timing and efficient staggering of attacks to lay consistent damage that slowly builds up to massive bursts. Blocking also plays a heavy role in this game, as your units have a total of 3 charges that they can use that restore over time. Initiating a perfect block, that is, blocking right before an attack is about to land, will immediately restore a single charge, which is valuable for maintaining offensive pressure. Overall, the combat system is very fun to play and incredibly engaging. There's a bit of a learning curve involved in getting used to telegraphs, blocking appropriately, and maintaining a high combo for bonus damage, but the reward for mastering the system is very satisfying once you get used to it and enemies just melt in seconds. One big factor to take note of is this game features no leveling system. There isn't any way to power level and grind experience to make your units overpowered to the point where you one-shot everything and end up ignoring other mechanics in this game. Eventually, it will get the better of you and you will die. This is a game that focuses heavily on your ability to adapt and pacing yourself, since you can't simply button mash your way to victory. Getting perfect blocks is crucial, and every skirmish requires at least a bit of focus to win. Alongside the fighting, you also have the political system of the game. Events will occur periodically between fights that will make you choose between one of 3 policies to enact in response to a situation. These responses will provide you with bonuses that will buff and heal your units until the end of the stage, and also permanently affect the public's and nobles' opinions of you. There are no takebacks, there are no redos. Repeating a stage will simply prompt upgrade choices with no political impact. I found this to be a really nice way to incorporate flavor and world building into the game, and I feel that it helps with the immersion and understanding of the mess of the political landscape that Cecile has been thrown into. As a sucker for flavor text, this kind of incorporation is a super big plus for me, and it's fun seeing how the story's world operates outside of the main character's direct line of sight and influence. The music has a variety of great and fitting tracks that keep your fights high-paced and exciting. A lot of the voices are very on point as well. Combat flows smoothly with good sound and good voice acting. Xanthi Huynh does a great job narrating the story as Cecile. However, similar to her performance in Persona 5 as Haru Okamura, there are some moments when she sounds a bit reserved, as a handful of her character's indignant and passionate lines seem to sound muted or muffled. You don't quite hear her throaty, unleashed power, either in combat or in spirited arguments. Which leads me to the first point of my critique with this game. Unfortunately, the story feels to be the weakest point of this game. There is a great amount of setup and background that leaves a lot of potential for this story to slowly snowball up into something big. But after a certain point early in the game, Cecile ends up kind of running around the country being led by the nose by this grimoire, and over time I get the feeling that much hasn't really been accomplished. Anything constituting a story arc kinda gets settled within 3 to 4 stages, and then we move on to the next objective as dictated by the grimoire, with Cecile in tow usually objecting about how she knows nothing, and the grimoire not explaining anything. The grimoire then explains something along the lines of, "But you need me," and Cecile objects, but ultimately still gets dragged all around Phonumia under the direction of the grimoire. In the context of the story, this makes sense. I would understand why the grimoire would not reveal anything to Cecile. But as a story presented to an audience, this is really dry and slow. And the constant back and forth between prideful Cecile and the know-it-all grimoire is supposed to act as a buffer to help with adjusting to the slow pace. But I don't think it's enough. I'm not asking for some Shakespearean monologue from the grimoire while the camp is supposed to be sleeping or any sort of trope like that. But I don't think there's enough presented at an even pace. I see hints, and the elements of the story that slowly revealed the path of the plot, but it's too little. I feel like what drives me forward in this game is my desire to know what's going on in the politics of this world. Countess Gracia is doing what now? Prince Michael is attempting another coup of the council? There are riots now because of the embargo? The gameplay seems to do a very good job of pushing itself. But that also leads me to my second major point of contention: blocking. And to be more specific, perfect blocking plays an outrageously massive role in this game, and I think that's a good thing. The difficulty of this game climbs at a fairly healthy rate, but I feel as if the game doesn't do enough to support the importance of blocking. Outside of units designated for tanking, enemies actually do a surprising amount of damage, and a lot of your units can't really take that many hits. This means you have to get blocking down perfect. Except you can't. You see, in order to perform a perfect block, the enemy's attack has to connect with your characters during the brief moment the shield icon is visible after you start blocking. Outside of that window, and you perform a normal block and take supposedly reduced damage. The game somewhat assists you by showing a spark on or in front of the enemy to indicate that they have initiated an attack. Which is fine. Except for when an enemy initiates an attack and the animation takes significantly longer to actually activate, or if an enemy has a large windup and then proceeds to officially initiate an attack mere fractions of a second behind the actual attack animation. I feel that a bit of standardization needed to have been implemented across the board for this game. Have some soft guidelines on how short or how long the time from the initiation to the actual attack should be, because guarding isn't exactly instant. Only certain parts before and after parts of your unit's attacks can be cancelled into a guard, and returning to the neutral state after a guard takes some time, which may result in a dropped combo when the enemy staggers attacks beyond the time limit. I understand that this is all part of the difficulty curve in games, but it's not particularly fair if I fail a block for attacks that have such a high variance and delay between the spark and the attack. And then to add insult to injury, I could be in a situation where the attacks are obfuscated by the location or other attacks. My last and final critique is probably more of a nitpick, but I think is still worth mentioning. As I said previously, this game has no leveling system, which I think is a refreshing take on this kind of genre, and should help promote variety in team composition since everything should be relatively even. Except it kind of doesn't. Because that means the only way you can unlock more variety in this game is either through side content or progressing the story. And in general, that would be fine, except there's also an equipment system known as gems, which drop at the end of every stage and can provide benefits to single units, multiple units, or the party as a whole. This means that, in general, just out of principle, you're more likely to have and keep high-grade equipment that benefits older characters simply because you've played them longer and have had more chances to roll good benefits for them. Likewise, new skills and abilities appear to lock for older classes first once newer classes even out, which continues to alienate your newer units. I believe team variety could have been promoted better if newer units that joined your roster also came with a few extra rules of gems with benefits exclusive to them, which would help promote their use and increase chances of rotating out older gems. Overall, I would still recommend this game to action fans. Despite my criticism, I still really enjoy playing Fallen Legion. This game is designed in such a way that you can just pick up and play without much of a hassle, and you know what you're getting into from the get-go. The gameplay is solid, the artwork is great, and the price is more than reasonable for a game like this. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what else these studios have got in store for the future. Thanks for watching. My name is Zareth, and I've just given you a second opinion. Hope to see you again.